Fine, Mark. How are you?
Just fine. Sorry to keep you waiting.
That's okay.
Um, so I want to ask you this:
Sure.
Is it help me understand? Is it as problematic for you as it is to me that CBS interviewed Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump the same day, or aired the interviews in the same day? Yesterday morning, Hillary Clinton on CBS Sunday Morning. Last night, Donald Trump on CBS Evening News. I mean, on 60 Minutes. Hillary was asked. The woman was asked about her husband's infidelity and whether he should have resigned. But Donald Trump was not asked a single question about his own infidelity. Is that as
Yes,
problematic for you as it is for me?
it's completely offensive. I mean, there are so many things that she could be asked about. The idea that she was once again had thrown in her face her husband's 20-year-old, 25, 24-year-old infidelity is disgusting. You know, she, as far as I'm concerned, had the presidential election virtually stolen from her. And the world is aflame. We have babies in jails. Uh, this madman on 60 Minutes is defending his alliances with every kind of fascist. But we've got to find out again what Hillary thinks about her husband's affair.
But
It's so misogynist, and it's politically it's journalistic malpractice, and it's part of how we got here in the first place, Mark, and you know that.
but how is a Democrat's affair? Why are we held as Democrats to a higher standard or a higher level of accountability than Republicans? They just do whatever they want to do. You
Well,
know.
you know what they think they're doing, right?
Mhm.
They don't think that they're talking about a 23, let's be precise. I think it was November of 1995. They don't think they're talking about a 23-year-old affair, even though they are. They would never do something that stupid and prurient, of course. So here's what they're doing. They're
Okay.
trying to jam Hillary Clinton, who was on the verge of being the most powerful woman in the world, with the current mores of Me Too and our current evolved, thankfully evolved thinking about power dynamics between powerful older men and younger women. Okay, and so this is how they're justifying it, and this is also how they're finding once again Hillary, her answer is inadequate, and because she said, well, Monica was an adult. Um, it is so irrelevant what she thinks. But it's like that's how they get there. It's like let's jam her on this. Has she caught up? I saw a journalist I respect
Mhm.
this morning tweeting about it and saying she's not woke. First of all, this is a white journalist, so again, we've got white people appropriating black language and finding Secretary Clinton inadequate. I mean, this is just, and this is really one. I'm not going to humiliate her by mentioning her name because she's one of the good ones. Some of your listeners will know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
But this is what's going on, and this is what passes. David Axelrod, I will say his name. He's all upset about it too. He just thinks it's a terrible, terrible thing that Hillary Clinton did not say the absolutely correct statement about our new thinking about consent. When she was jammed by this completely unfair gotcha question by CBS. It's disgusting, and you're right. Why is Leslie Stahl not asking? What about the 15 credible allegations of sexual harassment and assault by you, Mr. President? What about your boast in your own voice
Right.
about sexual assault that you can grab women without consent
Right. Right. Right.
because you're
Right.
a star? You know, all of that when it comes to Donald Trump is, quote, old history. It's ancient history, Mark. Uh, as I'm on CNN talking to Republicans about this whenever a new allegation or the issue comes up in a new way, I'm told it's baked into the cake already. People voted for him knowing he was a sexual assaulter, basically. And yet people voted for Bill Clinton knowing his past, and Hillary Clinton doesn't have such a past. So the double standard at work here is so, so offensive. It's I can barely move and motivate myself to refute it again because I'm so tired of it and so used to it.
Eric Bowler just tweeted literally seconds ago while we're talking about this. Private citizen Hillary Clinton sits down for interview, is asked about her husband's affair 20 plus years ago. Trump, sitting U.S. president, sits down for interview, is not asked about his many, many affairs from 10 years ago. And again, some of our friends, you're right, and it's polite of you not to mention names because somebody else tweeted something this morning, you know, that Hillary Clinton is wrong for not
Well, there are
agreeing.
folks on the left, yes,
That's what I'm saying. Some of our friends,
there,
right?
some of our friends on the left are having some fun with this morning, especially if they supported Bernie. Um, but again, if we were having a strict debate, if there was any way that this was relevant, and somebody asked me, about her response, I would say once again, she's a private citizen. She suffered. She's the one who suffered in this situation, as well as I would argue Monica Lewinsky. She is entitled to her own personal feelings. I would
Yeah.
imagine that her personal feelings are clouded and therefore cloud her political uh, acumen, her feminist credentials. It's her husband. She's had to talk about this for the last almost 30 years, really, because the allegations and frankly the truth of some of this goes back much before Ms. Lewinsky, and so this is a woman who, as far as I'm concerned, is entitled to having a slightly blurry compass because for whatever reason she still loves this man and she is still with this man, and so
But
people
then
should
too,
just shut the hell up.
what woman is forced to answer for her husband's infidelity? I mean, why
This
does she?
woman,
Huh?
this
Yeah,
woman,
right. The only one. Right, right, right. She's supposed to be doing that. It was funny because he joked early in the campaign. I forget who it was that asked him whether he would move back into the White House, and he said he didn't know if he would be allowed. Even if she became president and said, you know what, Bill, you don't need to live here, they still would hound her
oh,
because
she was
it's
banned.
not.
If she divorced him, she would have been out
It
of
wouldn't have mattered.
politics. I mean,
It wouldn't
yeah,
matter
everybody's.
because let's be clear. Asking her about Bill Clinton, y'all, it has nothing to do with Me Too. Asking her about Bill Clinton is about destroying her and attacking her and what would have been her potential as a woman leader and possibly the first woman president. Women, the women are always wrong. Always, Blasey Ford was wrong. Hillary Clinton's wrong.
Right.
They're never victims. They're always the ones that are dead wrong. But as you've written, your last column was about Kavanaugh being a motivation for women. Talk to us about that because I think it will be. I think it should be.
Well, I think the last time I talked to you, I spent a couple of weekends in Georgia with Stacey Abrams, and
Yes.
one of the weekends the testimony had just happened, and then the second weekend his confirmation anyway had just happened, and so I did meet a lot of women who are angry about this and who are reminded once again about what we lost when we had Donald Trump forced on us as president. And there is an infrastructure of women running for office that is so powerful and is so motivated. And as you know, Mark, I know you talked about it. There's been there was a lot of talk that the confirmation hearing and the attacks on Kavanaugh were fueling a male and even a female backlash because we're looking at the Trump era, and it's marked by the power of angry white men and the women who love them. And so there was some element of that. I don't think you can deny it. However, every poll that we've seen since then, the Democrats have improved their performance on the, quote, generic ballot. That's
Right.
sort of a nationwide, who do you want to control Congress next year? The
Mm-hmm.
Democrats are almost certain to take the House. The Senate has always been a tougher lift. But I do believe it's motivating women. Their side claims that it's motivating, again, angry white men and the women who love them to support the Republican in the race. We'll see in 3 weeks.
You spent time with Lucy McBath too. I appreciate that.
I
You
did.
wrote "What's the Matter with White People?" That was the
I
title of your
did.
book, right? Okay, so
Hmm.
let me ask you this: what's the matter with white women who still support these men?
I think that they benefit from the status quo as it is and as it has been, and so they judge the world, um, at least partly. They judge politics at least partly in the way it's going to treat their men, and so they are anything that threatens the power of men, their men, white men, threatens them. I mean, I think that a lot of the conservative women's movement was based on the threat, on a perceived threat to them, because in the traditional order of things, there was at least a perception that they were cared for by white men, by the traditional marriage and family structure, by the traditional political structure, and sadly, despite the feminist movement, we still see far too many white women um, thinking and feeling and behaving that way. I mean, I don't know how it's going to play out in November. There's polling that shows that suburban white women who, in the end, uh, swung to Trump. Hillary hoped for more to get more of them. That they've swung away from the Republicans, particularly college-educated white women. You
Mm-hmm.
can't. People use all these terms are confusing, right? But people use suburban white woman, and sometimes they really mean college-educated white women. But at any rate, I don't think Republicans will do as well this
No.
year with those women as they did in 2016. There's even evidence that he's lost some white working class women or white non-college educated women.
Right.
But we're going to have to see,
Yeah.
because these cultural cross currents are very strong, and they operate in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't believe that most women were sympathetic to Brett Kavanaugh, but there's no doubt that some were.
Joan Walsh with us, folks. The Nation. It's early voting day in Georgia, folks. Tell everybody you know in Georgia to get out and vote. We got to fight back against Brian Kemp as well.
Yes.
Joan, as always, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We
Take care,
appreciate you.
Mark.
Keep up the good work. We'll keep the faith. We're gonna win this.
You too.
I think it is. I think women are gonna push back. I think it's gonna be a women's wave, and it's about time.
I think
Is that gonna be your next book? What's the matter with white women?
so. Maybe. I don't know.
I support it. All
Thank
right.
you.
Love you, Joan.
Love you too.
All right.
Bye, Mark.
Enjoy your day. Enjoy your week too. Folks, if all minds are clear, it has been made plain.